Damn, that's how y'all feel? In this video, we're going to talk about, is Green Bay truly the worst city in the United States? Let's get going. Welcome back, guys. I'm King Jerome. I'm the local Green Bay real estate agent here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And on this channel, I help families just like yours and individuals figure out everything they got to figure out, the places to live, and things they need to do in preparation for their move here to Green Bay. Now, let's talk about this that I started off in the intro, and it's also on the thumbnail. So I found this on Reddit, and I thought it was really interesting that someone would compare Green Bay to being the worst city in the world. At the same time, I understand that this is definitely mostly all perspective, right? This is for sure perspective, and I'm not going to say I know everybody's experience, but there's a decent amount of people who have a negative experience about it. And one of the things, I would hear it more from especially younger people who are from Green Bay or are from the Fox cities, like Appleton, Oshkosh, Kimberly, all those places, even other small cities like Manitowoc. When you grow up in a small town, and then you're seeing all the possibilities of giant skyscrapers and things like that, you're like, oh, Green Bay sucks. Green Bay is lame. I get it. I definitely get it. But to say that Green Bay is the worst in the entire nation, come on, that's a stretch. So let's touch on a couple points. The first biggest one that I hear a lot about is that there's nothing to do in Green Bay. Many times when people talk about this, what they're referring to specifically is nightlife, right? What nightlife is there to do? Where can I go party? Where are they? Where's their, 24-hour sushi delivery? Things like that. That type of stuff is not really happening here in Green Bay. But what is happening in Green Bay and most of Northeast Wisconsin, most of Wisconsin pretty much, it's a lot of outdoor activities, right? So and this is going to span for a couple of different points that I'm going to make, that people talk about. Yeah, it might not seem like there's too much nightlife, and at the same time, it's growing, and it depends where you are. If you're in Madison, if you're in Milwaukee, yeah, you can have a better chance at that, but in Green Bay, not necessarily. Green Bay is still a very family-oriented type of town, even though it's where the Packers play, even though there's a lot of drinking that happens in Green Bay. It's almost like a hybrid college/family town, right? So let's talk about point number 2. It's too cold. Yeah, look, let's be real. Yeah, it gets cold. It gets cold out here, especially during January, February. That's usually the coldest. Especially January. Yeah, January and February, they'll have some stretches that are extremely cold. Like I'm talking about a degree, maybe -5, for maybe an entire week. But the thing is with the weather here, it fluctuates so often. Today it could be warm in the 50s. Tomorrow we can have a nice spring snowstorm. As a matter of fact, as of the recording of this video, was it last week? Tuesday, it was literally like that. It was nice sunny, in the 50s. Very next day, snowstorm, and that typically happens well after spring has begun. So I get that, but at the same time, when the summer comes around, it gets pretty hot. Maybe we won't get hot like Arizona hot. Maybe we won't get hot like Florida or, southern Texas hot, but it can get hot. Very rarely does it ever get into the triple digits, but it for sure will get up to 98, 99. Whether or not it's mixed in with some humidity, I'm telling you, you're going to feel it. And there's other videos that I've made where I talked about the cost of living stuff. I think actually my last cost of living video where I talked about how you're definitely going to see it reflected on your electricity bill, because it can get hot, dude. I'm telling you, it can get hot. But it's not always cold. As much as Green Bay is portrayed as the frozen tundra because of football, it's really only that cold for maybe a week or two out of the entire year. out of the entire year. But in preparation, people are aware of this. And not only that, there's people who enjoy it because if you're into ice fishing, perfect time to ice fish, right? If you are into snowmobiling, if you're into winter activities, this is like the perfect time to do it. And then, go start a fire in your fireplace or at a cottage or something like that. There's such a huge market here in Green Bay and most of Wisconsin. I know it's like that as well. Minnesota, Michigan, a lot of the Midwest states, actually, pretty much any state up north where it snows like this, Canada as well, it's the same thing. A lot of people are into winter sports. Not everybody wants to be warm all year, every year.
Stop the cap.
You know what I mean? For me, as much as I love it when it's warm, I personally don't know if I'd always want it to be warm. There's always the age old debate: would you rather be hot or super hot, or would you rather be super cold? I'm kind of in between. I can't say I'd rather be super hot or super cold. You know, both of them suck. Both of them suck. I don't know what to tell you. All right, let's talk about the next point. Point number 3: it's too small. Yeah, it can be. It can be, but again, this is all perception, right? Me not originally being from Green Bay, Green Bay is slightly smaller than my own hometown, but Green Bay is growing. If you are from a small town, Green Bay, you'd call it a big city, even though it's really not. Because, in my opinion, Green Bay is the smallest, no, it's the largest small town that you will ever live in. But there are several other cities very similar to Green Bay in this aspect, right? And that's all around the country. That's all around the country. Um, it's perfect, especially if you're looking to, for a slower pace in life. If you got kids, and you want them to grow up in a very extremely relatively safe community, great schools and stuff, this is perfect for you. If you're looking for skyscrapers, you're looking for nonstop club hopping, party going until 5, 6 a.m., I promise you Green Bay is not it. That's not really existing in Green Bay. That's not existing in Appleton. That's not existing in Oshkosh. It's not existing in Manitowoc. Most of Northeast Wisconsin, that's not a thing. Maybe you might find that in Madison. Maybe you might find that in Milwaukee. I know Milwaukee, a lot of places do shut down after a certain time as well. So it's not really, that lifestyle is not necessarily super compatible with the way things are in Green Bay. Okay. The next biggest complaint I've read before and I've heard people talk about is a lack of diversity. So with diversity, I mean this can go in a lot of different ways, and I feel like I can definitely talk about this. Yes, yes, Green Bay is predominantly white people. Sure, sure, but and this is a big caveat: the amount of non-white people that are coming into Green Bay, that are coming into the Fox cities, Appleton, Oshkosh, like I mentioned, Manitowoc, it's growing. Why? Because, for example, you'll have some locals that look at this in a negative way. It doesn't mean that they're racist or anything like that. The problem is, like, a lot of people coming here, well, it's not even a problem. This is the problem that they perceive, but this is what I see is happening. A lot of people moving in from Chicago, from Milwaukee, looking to get away from the fast paced environment, from the potential violence, especially if they have children. Nobody wants their children caught up in all that mess, right? So they start moving up north towards Green Bay, and I think it's a good move. I think it's great, and I think they should continue doing that. And along with people coming up, more things start to expand. You start having more diversity in food options because that's something Green Bay does lack in, but it's growing. It's starting to grow. There's still a lot of Mexican food. There's a lot of your typical American food, Italian food, but you won't have. There's even Indian food that's starting to grow as well, also here in Green Bay. as opposed to maybe 10 years ago, that wasn't really a thing. So there's some positives with that. Some negatives is sometimes some people will bring violent behavior, violent tendencies that they used to have in other places up in this area. But at the same time, Green Bay is on it, especially when it comes to crime. Like, you may not think so. Some people may not, think that law enforcement is able to respond very quickly and efficiently to these situations, but they can, because the fact that this doesn't crime and stuff like that doesn't typically happen here in Green Bay, like, at all. I'm telling you, police here, law enforcement, public safety, they have time. They will. Things, small things that you may assume is not a big deal and it's not a big fish, you know, because cops have bigger fish to fry. For example, if you got a pistol, you shoot it off in the air a couple times. You're like, oh, no one's going to respond. Cops got bigger fish to fry. I promise you that probably half the city's law enforcement is going to be at your address within a couple of minutes, because that's not stuff that typically happens.
Stupid. I'm not gonna let you get the chance.
Before we continue on to the next one, you guys already know I got another message for you.
Before we continue with this video, are you planning to move to Green Bay, but you're overwhelmed with the amount of things that you need to get done? You're not sure what things need to be done right now, and what things can be pushed off for a little bit. Well, I got something for you. My Green Bay relocation guide, which I finally finished, is now here. And in this guide, I break down things you need to do 3 to 6 months before you move here, such as making sure you know which neighborhood you want to go live in, having a plan, knowing what utilities you're going to use, 2 to 4 months, which shows which moving companies you need to have down and things like that. Make sure you download it. On one of these sides, you're going to see a QR code. Scan that QR code, and right there is going to take you to my link tree, which is going to be the link to download that guide, and it's also going to be in the description below if you are watching this on your phone. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and make sure you send this to somebody who is planning to move to Green Bay and you see that they look pretty overwhelmed. Now let's get back to the video.
Welcome back, guys. So, like I was mentioning in that video, make sure at the end of this video, I'm going to have my QR code for you to go scan, and you could download that relocation guide. And along in the same link is also going to be my contact information that you can download. You can text me, you can call me, because the biggest thing I want to encourage you, and I'm going to remind you this at the end of the video, is that you just got to tell me 2 or 3 streets, and I could tell you exactly, 2 or 3 streets or certain things that you want in a community that you're looking to move into, and I could point you exactly to where you need to be looking. All right, let's talk about some positives that you're going to find here in Green Bay, especially when it comes to living here. One of the things is affordability, and this applies both literally and financially, right? You have space to breathe. Why? Because even though the housing market, right, it's pretty crappy across the board, but it's starting to slowly get better because more and more homes are being built. At the same time, it might have a little bit of a slowdown right now because of tariffs and things like that. In Green Bay, your dollar typically goes a lot further than you would in another city, right? So, for example, out in California, right, LA and things like that, homes are typically upwards towards the millions, right? Very expensive out there. Now, for that same amount of money, even though that's location based, and many times you're paid based on the cost of living of where you live. If that same dollar amount here in Green Bay, you can actually buy like an amazing home with a whole lot of ample space, right? But it's not only that. You have a lot of homes right now. What's very popular here is like homes in the $200,000 to $300,000, right? And those are the homes that at the same time typically people have a hard time finding more of, because it's so popular and the demand for it is so high that, people are constantly looking for those. Now, it's a little different when it comes to homes that are priced a little higher than that. into the 400 to 600 range, 400 to 600,000 range. There's a lot of huge homes. I mean, a lot, with huge yards, huge ample space, and there's so much inventory on it because a lot of people aren't necessarily looking in those ranges. But there's a lot of great options, and even on this channel, you will see a lot of those homes that I've recorded and gone through, especially out in Hobart and things like that. What I would call an expensive home for some of you is not that expensive at all. But then from other people, it still may not be expensive, but it may not be what they're actually looking for. So that's one of the positives. Another positive, if you're a big Green Bay fan, if you're a big football fan, or just a sports fan in general, Green Bay has so many opportunities. So many opportunities. We got, of course, the NFL, Green Bay Packers. We got indoor football with the Green Bay Blizzard, and you can see a little quick clip that's playing about it. We have baseball. Yeah, you got the Milwaukee Brewers, but in Green Bay you also have, it's not a little league team, but I believe they're A or double A, and they're called the Green Bay Rockers. And then down in Appleton, we got the Timber Rattlers, and they're a triple A team, and they feed into the Milwaukee Brewers all the time. Besides those, we got the Resch Center. At the Resch Center, they host plenty of events, and it's just like any other center like you guys may have in your own cities, where they'll do concerts, Monster Jam, WWE will come by, host some stuff. Same thing, and all concentrated in the same place. So entertainment-wise like that, especially with family, for sports and things like that, there's plenty of it. I promise you there's plenty of it. Same thing with outdoor activities. Outdoor activities are amazing here, amazing. A lot of camping options. A lot of outdoor fishing, ATVing, so many options when it comes to that. Paintballing as well. It may not be a huge city. It may not have everything that, say, the city of Chicago has, or the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul. It may not have everything those large cities have. But I think Green Bay can really give you a good run for your money, if you give it the chance and if you're open-minded about it, and that's really all I got for you. That's really all I got for you. So even though while you're doing your search online and things like that, and you see all these negative opinions and stuff about Green Bay, I just want you to keep in mind, no city is perfect. Every city in the world has its negatives, has its positives, have people who think a certain way about it and a different way. So I would encourage you not to let other people's opinions necessarily steer you in any direction. And I highly recommend you come out here and check it out. We got the NFL draft coming up, and even as the recording of this video, and even if you're viewing this well after that, I encourage you, like I encourage anybody else who are even considering moving to Green Bay, come visit, come see what it's like. Before you make that decision that you want to come out here, at least come out for one visit. I'd love to show you around, show you all these different places, and that way you get a very good sense of what it's like to be here in Green Bay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure, here's my QR code I was talking about earlier. It's going to pop up. Scan that. I want to hear from you, and I want to thank everybody else who has reached out to me, looking for some help, asking me for some questions. And I encourage you, reach out to me, send me a text, give me a call, download that relocation guide. Any questions that you have, I'm here to answer it for you. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like it. Make sure you share it with somebody that that is considering moving to Green Bay, to check it out and watch it. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.